Hey y'all, Joefer here, the cranky old gay guy. So today we're going to be talking about lucid dreaming. That's right. Enjoy your retirement by lucid dreaming. This is for all of you out there like myself who don't have tons of money to fly off in foreign vacations to amuse ourselves. And it can be used at any age, but I'm focusing this on people over the age of 50 who might have heard about it or read about it in their life, but they've never really acted on it. I have known about this for probably 30 years. I have tried it a number of times. I think the only times I've been successful is when I wasn't trying. So we're going to give it another shot. I went ahead and read some stuff in a book, and I read some stuff online, and then I watched the 102,000 videos on YouTube about it. And that last part, I didn't watch all of them. I just couldn't because a lot of them are just rehashing exactly the same thing. There are different methods to use, and I'm going to cover, I think, three of those. Um, there's also, they have some acronyms. I think DILD, WILD, WTBB, which means, what does that mean? Walk around and then go back to bed or something like that. Um, the idea is that you need to slightly focus on something when you're falling asleep. You're focusing on that, and it can be an object, it can be an image, it can be a mantra, like, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Over and over, you say to yourself until you fall off to sleep. And then as you do start dreaming, that's the last thing that was in your mind. And while you're in the dream, you'll say, am I dreaming? And that's when you can test yourself. That's where people say, oh, pinch me and see if I'm dreaming. Well, it's better to, in your dream, write something down. Because also, this in your dreaming, this is something you can do earlier in the day too. Um, put a notebook or a tablet or something next to your bed with a pen. Throughout the day, every hour on the hour, write, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Like 10 times straight. Set your alarm if you have to remind you to do this every hour. And then when you go to bed, as you start dreaming, you will, in your dream, write something down and then look at that and then look away and look back. If it still says, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? You're probably not dreaming because you're probably awake. But if you look at it after you write it and then you look at it again and it says something else or it's mixed up letters or something, you're probably dreaming, which means you're in a lucid state, which means that you can direct your dream. Once you reach a lucid state where you realize that you're dreaming while you're asleep, this has happened many times to me. And occasionally I can control it. Other times I start to go somewhere and then I wake up. But once you're there, test it out. Once you realize that you're dreaming, start doing things that you couldn't normally do, like fly, like jump really high, like spin and turn into a hurricane. I don't know. Say I want to see NASA, and suddenly you will be in NASA. Or I want to go to the moon. What's on the other side of the moon? What's on the moon? I wish I was at the top of the Eiffel Tower. And you will, in your dream, if you're lucid dreaming and you're in control, you will suddenly be at the top of the Eiffel Tower. I know it sounds odd and it sounds silly and it sounds weird, but it is possible. And I've done it kind of, but not completely because I need to get back into it. Something to remember is that you're not going to succeed on your first try for the most part, regardless of what these YouTube videos tell you, because it's concentration. And if you're thinking about it too much, there's a good chance you're going to have trouble falling asleep. Now, another thing, another method that they state, and when I say they, I mean a majority of them, is that the wake and go back to sleep method, meaning that when you're in a deep sleep, you set your alarm for 2 hours or 3 hours or however long it takes you to get to sleep, and you know that you've been sleeping for a while. The alarm will wake you up. Immediately grab your journal, write down any dreams that you do remember that you might have had in the short term, and then go back to sleep, use your mantra, and now you're already in a semi-sleepy state. So you're saying, you're doing your mantra, or you're remembering what you just wrote down in the journal, and that takes you back to the dream. Or if you didn't have a dream earlier, you're doing the mantra, so now you're back in a dream state, and you can direct that dream. This would be a way for someone in retirement to have a nice vacation nightly, or multiple vacations nightly, and tell yourself while you're lucid dreaming that when I wake up, I will remember this. And as soon as you wake up, write it down, because you're not going to remember it for the most part. Very rarely do I have a dream that I remember unless I've at least written it down or stated it out loud when I wake up. I had one recently about it was a remodeling building an ADU in a basement, and I went downstairs to look at the progress, and Joy Behar was there, and it turns out that it was her basement, and she was having me build an ADU for her, and it was a really nice kitchen area that I was in with an island, and it seemed to be finished. And then I went back upstairs, and something about coffee came up, and Joy wanted me to go get her a coffee, and someone else was there. They wanted me to get a coffee too. So I went back downstairs, and suddenly this kitchen counter thing was a coffee bar, and there was a middle-aged woman, a late-teen woman, and a little girl. And I was thinking, oh, this is her granddaughter. Well, in reality, I think she has a grandson. I don't think she has a granddaughter. But they made me this fancy coffee, and it was, here, take it. And it was just like, wow. And I went upstairs, and then I woke up. But when I woke up in the morning, I did remember that, and I did repeat it to myself. And I did tell someone else about it later in the day, so I think that's why I'm still remembering it. It's not as vivid as it was at that time, but it was very, very, very real, except that things would just change, like the basement kitchen became a coffee shop bar kind of thing. And the people that were there serving coffee weren't there when I was just down there a moment before. And it's a basement, and that was the only way to get in there. So I don't know how that happened. So that's just a dream, and I did remember it. But what I was thinking is that it's not just vacations and frivolity that you can do with lucid dreaming. You can also solve problems. Let's say you have a homework assignment, a math equation. You've studied in class, you can't figure out the answer. Write that equation that you are having trouble with, the question, in your dream journal. Go to sleep. Lucid dreaming, solve it in your lucid dream. Be sure to write it down in your lucid dream and tell yourself that you will remember it. Because oftentimes I have come up with the solution to something or an incredible discovery in my dream, and I wake up and I'm all excited, and it's like, what am I excited about? Because I don't remember anything except I know how that works, or I know how to solve the electricity crisis, or to make more power without burning fossil fuels, or whatever. And it just came to me, and it was like, this is so simple. Why can't we just do this? And at one time I had this dream. The atmosphere has electricity in it, okay? And I was reading somewhere that someone lives in the woods, and they ran a wire up a tree, tall pine tree. And at the base, they put an outlet plug. And especially if it was windy or any kind of a storm was in the area, the voltage on that plug would grow and grow and grow. And they were able to draw electricity off of this plug that wasn't attached to a grid. It was just an antenna is what it was. Now, I don't know if that actually works or not. I did talk to someone who knows about electrical, and he goes, well, maybe, whatever. That was about as far as I got. I don't think it would be enough power to run anything. But then I remember I used to listen to Art Bell when he was on late night radio, and he had a compound that was all secure, and he was very into the whole shortwave radio thing and CB radios, that kind of thing. And he had his antenna was wire that he had up above his compound gate or his fence, and it ran all around the property. I think he said he had 4,000 feet of fencing, so there was wire all around the top of it. And he said he was able to draw power off of that. And his voltage, especially if there was a storm, he had batteries. He didn't have enough batteries to store all the power that was coming in. So That would be a way to harness electricity as well and power. So I'm thinking maybe in my dream, I came up with some kind of similar solution. But again, I don't remember it. But I didn't write it down either. If you follow these steps and write it down, you will remember it and it will help you with issues. It's not a math problem, maybe it's a work problem. I have done this for work issues where it's like, I used to work with or companies' data, their payroll data when it would come in, and I would have to get that in the right format to feed into our main system. Or I've eventually just built a bridge that I could take anything they brought in, put it into my bridge, and the bridge would turn it into a Unix code that we could use. But that was years and years and years ago. I doubt if they even use the same system at all. But I had some issues. I wasn't super advanced in Excel, but I knew it. And I knew there was a way to do something, and I could not find the solution for it. I went to sleep, told myself I'd find the solution. The next day at work, it just came to me when I was looking at it. It's like, oh, well, why didn't I do this? And it totally solved the issue. And I believe it happened when I was sleeping because I was somewhat lucid and did that. So that's my story. This is something I think all of you would benefit from if you did it. And I think you might enjoy it. It might be fun. And please let me know in the comment section if you have a history of doing this or if it's something you're going to try or you've already tried it and it worked or whatever. I would love to hear from you on that one. And where are we at? We're at 12 minutes. So I'm going to give you one bonus. We're going to talk about astral travel. That is lying back, relaxing but not sleeping, and letting your astral soul leave your body and go wherever you want it to go. The method for doing this is you lay flat on your back, quiet room, dark windows, everything. You don't want any distraction. When you're laying there, put your arms out to the side or down, but they don't touch your body. Don't cross your legs. Make sure your legs are apart and just lay there. Lay there and think to yourself, I'm going to astral travel. I'm going to astral travel. Again, it's a mantra. In 5 or 10 minutes, your body should feel something. Maybe a tingling, maybe a burning, maybe you'll hear a humming. And while you're in this state, tell yourself, I'm going to astrally or raise my astral left hand or my right hand or my left foot, etc. And do it. And you can feel your astral body moving. You think that you're doing it. But then, if you look, your hand's still down here. So what is it that you're actually feeling? That's partial astral travel. You do this, you stay in that zone, and then you say, I'm going to astral travel out of my body up to the ceiling. Go up to the ceiling, and now look down on yourself and look at your body. I know that you're going to say, this is just your imagination. Well, maybe it is. But you could also say, I'm going to travel to this address. Pick an address out of a phone book or off a Google site or something, but don't look at it. Just look at the address, not the actual picture of the place. And then when you astral travel, make it local. Go there, see what it looks like, come back, and yes, if I want to return to my astral body, I just say, time to return, and you're pretty much instantly going to be back in your body. You'll wake up because you weren't really asleep. You were just in an astral zone. I want to say a zone coma. It's going to feel like sleep paralysis, but it's not. You at any time can wake up just by telling yourself back in the body and wake up. Once you do this, you have that address written down. The next day, or next day or two or whatever, go drive by that address that you've never been to before and see if it matches what you were seeing while astral traveling. That is how you're going to prove to yourself that it does work. Have I done it? I've tried it many times. I don't know if I've barely been successful to the point where I would tell everyone that I did it. I might have had minor successes. I actually did once. When I broke my back 30 some years ago, couldn't move from here down. It was just I could move my neck. I guess it was from the nipples down. But while I was being examined, after they took me in and cut my clothes off and rolled this pointy wheel all over your body to see if you feel anything, I was on a series of different, I was on a stretcher and a gurney and then moved all over the hospital. I ended up at a CAT scan. And I remember going into the CAT scan, but then, and hearing the knocking and all that. But at the same time, I was also up here watching myself go into the CAT scan, listening to what they were saying, which you couldn't hear in the CAT scan because they're in another room. But I heard everything that they were talking about, even though in the CAT scan, the only thing you hear is when they tap in and go, breathe or don't move, that kind of thing. So I guess I did successfully do it once, but I think it was caused more by trauma than because I wanted to do it. But that's where we stand. So that's my coverage of lucid dreaming today. And your bonus gift was astral travel. So if you're into either one of those or you've done either one, please let me know via the comment section. And I wish everyone out there a happy Monday evening. Yes, my voice is going away again. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye. Oh, stay cranky.